Hello! I had no intention of watching Blonde until I saw the usual mob getting outraged, because they get outraged about everything, don't they? They said that Blonde was a disgusting, perverted movie, so I thought, oh, I'll have some of this, I'll watch this, because if the usual woke mob hates something, I'm going to love it. And I was right. My hunch in the pit of my stomach was bang on. I love Blonde. Blonde is a beautifully made, well executed, hard hitting movie. In fact, I finished watching it at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was so shaken up by it, I was too scared to go out to my hallway and walk to the bathroom so I could go to the toilet. Because when I watch a film that's a little bit disturbing at night, even if it's psychologically disturbing, I get nervous, because I live in this really big house and I'm on my own in this big house at this moment in time. So it's a bit creepy at night time. During the day, it's wonderful. Anyway, I love Blonde. But whether you like Blonde or hate Blonde, the performance of Ana de Armas is outstanding. What this woman had to do to transform herself, not just to look like Marilyn, but to be Marilyn, to give us Marilyn's soul, is extraordinary. This is also a woman with an accent. So she had to lose that accent in this film, and she did a great job. Now, at times I've been kind of disrespectful about Ana de Armas. I've said that she used Ben Affleck to get a foothold into this industry, and maybe she did. But one thing's for sure, Ana de Armas is a very talented young artist, and this performance not only deserves an Oscar nomination, she should win for Best Actress. It's as simple as that. And I would love her to win, because it would upset all the right people. So people have said that this film has made them uncomfortable. It should make you feel fucking uncomfortable. What do you think it felt like being Marilyn Monroe when she was a small child, being pushed under the tub so her mother could kill her? And her mother ended up in an asylum because she was mentally unwell. And in the end, Marilyn ended up in a home. So Marilyn was fucked up before she even ever went to Hollywood. Marilyn was taking alcohol and drugs nearly her entire adult life. Her life was a haze. She walked into Hollywood high on drugs and alcohol. And I think this biopic does a really good job of showing us that. But it doesn't matter that social justice weirdos are upset about this movie. This movie was actually made by social justice weirdos. You can see how they show us all the male photographers and show us how men use Marilyn. That was Hollywood then, and that is also Hollywood today. No matter that a progressive political movement has taken over this industry, let's just say we saw a progressive president treat Marilyn in this biopic disgustingly. And I think it's factual. What kind of numbnuts is married to Jacqueline Bouvier? A beautiful, stunning, intelligent, strong woman, and cheats on her with someone else. But it's the brutality of how this was filmed. She was dragged to the hotel room like she was an object, and then he just wanted her there for one reason and one reason only. And it was disgusting to see, but it's the truth, everyone. It's the damn truth. This is how the woman was treated. But of course, this movie is made by social justice weirdos that's hated by social justice weirdos. This film is trying to show you the despicable nature of toxic masculinity. It's trying to show you what they did to Marilyn. But ultimately, Marilyn Monroe was a beautifully talented, intelligent woman. No matter that Hollywood tried to portray her as a dumb blonde, this girl was smart. And she used what she had to become successful. Her body. That's what she had. She could have used her intellect like Vivien Leigh did. Vivien Leigh didn't sleep with the highest bidder. Vivian Leigh was a very different woman. If you were a director and you touched her, you wouldn't have anything down by your trousers anymore, and that's the facts. She was a different kind of woman. So there were strong, successful women back in the day. Marilyn Monroe, I think, died in 1962, before I was even born. But this is still the most famous woman alive. But why? Because of what she achieved in film and entertainment, but her life was as polarizing as her films were. As we saw at the beginning, and I appreciate seeing her at the beginning of this film as a child, and her mother trying to drown her in the bath, was a terrible thing to see, but it's the truth. This woman never stood a fucking chance. And what this film shows is she didn't stand any more of a chance when she went to Hollywood. When she goes for her first audition and the guy just bends her over and has sex with her. And then she automatically gets the job. And when she's talking to her prospective future husband and he goes, "How did you get your first break?" she flashes back to having sex with that director or whoever he was. These are facts, everyone. This is what happened to Marilyn Monroe. This is what happened to many women in Hollywood. And it still happens to many women, men, girls, and boys in Hollywood. Yesterday, Elijah Wood telling us that there is a paedophile problem in Hollywood. No shit, Sherlock. I'm assuming he may even know this from experience because Elijah started off in Hollywood at a very, very young age. Yes, so too right, there's a paedophile problem in Hollywood. But this is the same man who sides with progressive Hollywood, who are actually probably the people he's talking about. But they're protected. And the woman who abused Brendan Fraser, once upon a time, an upstanding, attractive, confident man, and now he's a pale imitation of himself. She did that to him. And they're trying to tell you it's just men that are the problem. This is what extremists do. So extremist alt-lefts are offended by this movie. This is an ugly movie. Not in the way it's made, but in what it shows. Because Marilyn's life was not glamorous, it was ugly. When you see the photographers and you see how beautiful she looked and all the newsreels, you think, wow, what an amazing life this woman must have had. Is that why she killed herself? Obviously, you don't kill yourself if your life's going well and if you're all right in your mind, right? If she did kill herself, there's lots of people who believe she was actually murdered. I've already spoken about the progressive president. Apparently, all the Kennedys had a go on Marilyn. It was that disgusting. Kennedy was actually passing her around. Apparently, they didn't really go into that, did they? But we did see her having a threesome with Charlie Chaplin Jr. and another guy. In fact, when she's watching a premiere of her film, they're literally doing stuff to her, yeah? I don't want to really go into it. So it's a very sexually explicit film. So I won't criticize what they did in this film because we saw an ugly, dark life of a very psychologically traumatized woman because that's exactly what she was. The only criticism of this film is there was no need for her to be topless as much as she was. Sorry about that, I'm losing my voice. But there was no need for her to be topless as much as she was. She didn't need to be topless at all. We didn't need to see Anna's breasts. We didn't. At all. Very nice they are too, but we didn't need to see them. And that's the criticism. That was needless nudity as far as I'm concerned. Now, this film has also been accused of being anti-abortion. Well, let me tell you something. 50% of the world is anti-abortion and 50% of the world is pro-abortion. I'm going to tell you something that's maybe you're not going to like. I don't really care about abortion. I don't have an opinion about it. Maybe it's because I'm a man. It most probably is because I'm a man. And as far as I know, I've never got anyone pregnant. But who knows, right? Prospective kids come and see me, right? And obviously, I'll take my responsibility seriously. But anyway, I don't care about abortion. So I'm not pro or against abortion. I don't care about it. It doesn't touch me, and that's it. But let's look at what they do in this movie. So Marilyn Monroe, according to this film, and this is adapted from a novel by a woman, by the way. This film was directed by a man, but it was where it was adapted from was, the author of that was a woman. So we see that she has an abortion. Then she has another child in wedlock and she loses it. So Marilyn is really traumatized by the abortion. Now, a lot of you extremists and members of the mob may think women put their hot pants on and go, right, I'm a woman, I can do what I want. I'm going to have an abortion, and then shrug their shoulders and don't think about it again. I would imagine, and I don't know, but I'm going to assume that women who have abortions, it haunts them afterwards, and it never leaves them. That's understandable. They've made a decision they feel they had to make, but I'm sure it haunts them, and it haunts Marilyn. That's not a pro-life message. That's a factual message, isn't it? You can imagine a woman who has an abortion is highly traumatized and has guilt over it. Then she loses a child. Then there's the weird scene when the child is talking to her and saying, I'm the same baby that you aborted. Now that could be seen as a pro-life message. But just because that message makes you feel uncomfortable, it doesn't make it disgusting or immoral. Some people will write a story for pro-life, and some people will write a story for pro-abortion. It's just the way it is, because everyone has different opinions, right? And we respect those opinions. So I don't think that element of the film was bad. Maybe it's because I don't have a strong opinion either way. Because I'm a guy, I'm never going to get pregnant. It must be a huge thing to be pregnant, right? So, do I really have the right to talk about abortion? No. But I will say that I think there's 50% of women who are pro-life and, 50% of women who are pro-abortion. They're the facts, even if we don't talk about the men who are pro-abortion or pro-life, right? So I don't really think it matters whether this film is pro-abortion or anti-abortion. That's not the point here. This is depicting a woman who is traumatized by having an abortion, and then losing the child sends her psychologically over the edge. And as I said on the top of the show, Ana de Armas, her performance is beautiful. And as I say, I don't care if you like this film or not. You shouldn't be going around saying anything negative about Anna. And in the second half of this video, we're going to be talking about Billy Eichner, the director of Bros, calling every man, straight person who didn't go to see Bros because it's a gay romantic comedy, a homophobic. Well, Ana de Armas says you don't have to like this movie. You can love it, you can hate it. Whatever emotion you have for it, that's okay. Not that we need her permission, but it's good to see someone from Hollywood acting properly. Probably because she's a non-American, and she's a very humble young woman as well. Kind of feel bad for saying in the past that, she used Ben Affleck to get a career. But maybe she did. But she's still bloody talented, right? So I like her, and I love her performance. She embraces the persona, not only of Marilyn Monroe, but of Norma Jean. Because Marilyn herself saw Marilyn and Norma as two different entities. We saw that bit when she's breaking down in front of the mirror and we could see her reflection, blowing kisses while she's still a broken mess. In reality, this is a psychologically broken, traumatized woman. And this film shows that. And if you find that uncomfortable, that's good. That's okay. It means you're a fucking human being with a heart and a soul. This woman never stood a chance from the time she was born. And she was the wrong type of person to go to Hollywood. If you're a young person, a talented young person who wants to get into entertainment and wants to go to Hollywood, you should watch this film. You should inject it in your fucking veins and then say, I'm never fucking going to that horrible, corrupt, fucking little town. You're going to say, Mick, but in the new year, you're returning to Hollywood. Yes, I am. Because this time, my eyes are wide open. When I went there and spent 6 months there, I spent my time high on drugs, drunk on alcohol and partying and missing out on opportunities that were set up by very important people because they believed I was talented. I'm not saying I am talented, but there were people that believed in me and I let down. So I'm going back there to see what I can do. But this video isn't about me. It's about Marilyn Monroe and the biopic that is called Blonde. And the only reason I watched it and gave this movie a chance is because everyone was upset by it. Because I'm not the kind of person, I call myself movies TV mad, and I am movies TV mad, mostly over the stuff I grew up with. Because for me, when an industry is taken over, hijacked by a politically bankrupt extremist movement, I give up. I've given up on modern day entertainment. So you'll see a lot of YouTubers and people out there, they watch everything on Netflix, everything on Disney Plus, and they review it. I don't do that because I can't do that to myself. That's why I'm not a successful YouTuber. But I would have hated myself if I didn't watch this, knowing what this movie is. Because people have called this disturbing, uncomfortable, disgusting, disrespectful. One woman on TikTok said, if you wanted to show a woman being passed around Hollywood sexually, you didn't have to call her Marilyn Monroe. But it's the truth. It's the truth, sweetheart. And if you're uncomfortable about the truth of this industry, if you're uncomfortable that Marilyn Monroe was used and abused and was on a trance because of the drugs and alcohol she was mixing nearly her entire adult life, then that says something about you. You don't understand what the real world is, and you don't understand what Hollywood is. They keep on telling us they're making important movies and they're going to change the world. Will Smith's got a film called Emancipation. Another film the SJWs have made set in the past. They're obsessed with the past. But we cannot affect the past. We can only affect the present and the future. And we can create a better world for the next generation, but we haven't. We've got them in a trance on devices and social media platforms. What a horrible future the next generation has because of us. But anyway, going back to point. So this is actually a fucking important movie. No, it's not about representation. It's not about inclusion. It's not about the alphabet community, but it's about the industry that stands there today and says, we represent kindness and compassion. Be kind. The most abusive, toxic fucking industry. And this film, which is made within the platform of the entertainment industry, is saying, this is a shit fucking industry. And don't think this was just an issue back in Marilyn's time. It's still the same piece of barrel of shit. I'm giving Marilyn 5 stars. I thought the director did a beautiful job, and I absolutely adored Anna's performance. Why did Billy Eichner's Bros bomb at the box office? Listen to this. Straight people aren't entirely to blame. Straight people aren't entirely to blame. What is wrong? What is wrong with you? If I don't want to fucking see a rom-com, I won't go and see a rom-com, right? And if you're in the privacy of your own home and you think to yourself, do you know what? I'm not attracted to a gay romantic comedy. Maybe you're gay and you're not attracted to a gay romantic comedy. Maybe you're just like the rest of us, which I assume you are, right? That you just want to go and see entertaining content and it doesn't necessarily have to reflect your own community, right? But now we're in this situation where if we don't go and watch a female-led movie, we're sexist, misogynist pigs. And now if we don't watch a gay rom-com, where we're homophobic. This is straight from the mouth of the director. Imagine being a director and crying on Twitter and saying, hey, straight people, you're a bunch of homophobic bigots for not coming to see my movie. Or was this movie purposely made by the extreme lefts because they knew it was going to be a movie that was going to flop and not be watched by the audience? So then they knew they could cry to straight people and say, you are bad people. The irony isn't lost on me, of course, that the last line of the Bros trailer puts down straight people. So you're upset straight people didn't support your movie when you were putting them down in your fucking trailer. So let's go down on this Variety article. Billy Eichner's Universal-backed comedy Bros flopped at the box office during its opening weekend with a 4.8 million bow, about half of the 8 million to 10 million that the studio projected. Eichner, in a now viral tweet, claimed that straight people not showing up to an LGBTQ comedy was a driving force behind Bros' underperformance. Imagine it. He's saying this with a straight face. He's saying you're a bad person because you didn't go and see a movie. Going to see a movie isn't political. It isn't about supporting a political narrative or a community of people. I see a trailer, I see the marketing and I go, nah, I'm not watching this shit. Or I go, oh, I really want to watch this film, right? I've seen Bros. I should say that. And it's not a good movie and it's not a bad movie. It's a movie that you would expect to turn on about 2 p.m. in the afternoon over on Netflix. That's what it is. And that's why people didn't go and see it. But as we get further into this article, it's clear that Billy Eichner is actually talking shit because not only did the straight community not watch it, neither did the gay community. Even with glowing reviews, yes, and we know why they got those reviews, because these days a film doesn't have to be good to get good reviews and a good Rotten Tomatoes score. It's all very corrupt and it's all very political. Great Rotten Tomatoes scores and an A cinema score. Wow, etc. Straight people, especially in certain parts of the country, just didn't show up for Bros, Eichner wrote. And that's disappointing, but it is what it is. Wow! You're blaming a community of people. You are doing what you claim has been done to the LGBTQ plus community for years. Calling out a group of people. An innocent group of people, by the way, who saw the Bros trailer and thought, nah, this looks May, I'm not going to watch it. And probably didn't even think, oh, I'm not watching this because it's a gay rom-com. But guess what? As long as you're not being transphobic or homophobic in a way that you're going online or you're out in the street, physically abusing, verbally abusing people because they're gay, right? If you're in your own home and you just kind of have a confusion about the LGBTQ community, it's different. They're different. You don't understand them, right? You don't understand their motivations. You don't get it, right? It's different. You came from a bygone era, but as long as you've got these thoughts quietly in your home and you think, nah, I don't want to watch this gay rom-com, that's also okay, by the way. That's what living in a democracy is. You can have your pre-existing ideas and thoughts in your head. But as long as you don't go out and make this group of people feel like shit for being who they are, again, it's fine. Because people have natural opinions that they were raised on. And if you're just having these opinions silently in your own home, I personally believe it's okay. That's not me. I was brought up by very homophobic parents, and I had those views because of them for a very long time. It's only because of television, and I saw the Ninth Doctor kissing John Barrowman's Captain Jack Harkness. That kind of was a thing that I saw, and I thought, this is beautiful. So my upbringing didn't torture me in my mind, but for a lot of people, they're brought up a certain way, and those opinions never leave them. But as long as they've got these ideas and thoughts in their heads privately, and silently, that's down to them. You don't have to go and watch a gay rom-com if you don't want to. Eichner is certainly correct that some straight moviegoers weren't interested in the material. While homophobia about two men falling in love also likely figured in during a recent trip to a multiplex in Georgia, for instance, the writer saw a group of men being openly homophobic by mocking the Bros poster for featuring a guy putting his hand on another guy's butt. You know what, right? This is not the attitude I would have by seeing that poster, but I don't believe you, Billy. I don't believe you. Whoever said they saw this, I don't believe you. I think you are lying. I think you're lying. And this is what the extreme left do. They lie about straight males, especially straight white males, because these people are at war against us because they hate us, right? It's no different to a certain authoritarian guy with a little moustache who hated certain people. It's the same. This is what's going on here. It's disgusting. It really is. Anyway. So, however, the 4.8 million opening for Bros is so low that it also means many LGBTQ viewers didn't show up to see the comedy in theatres either. So why did Bros disappoint? As mentioned above, the official poster for Bros featured the backsides of two men. Why? Because leading stars Billy Eichner and Luke McFarlane just aren't box office draw at this point in their careers. Hang on a minute, right? Think about this for a minute, right? Imagine two unknown female starlets, right, actresses, in a bikini, and the bottom part right up their jackets and their bums are facing us, right? And your response to this is, well, they're not very famous, so we thought that we'd show their backsides. Progressive Hollywood would go absolutely fucking insane. This is actually a stupid thing to say. Coming out of the pandemic, star power has become far more integral to successful opening and original title that's not a superhero movie or a horror movie. The two most enduring engineers at the box office see the 22 million opening of Smile over the weekend. Bullet Train opened to 330 million with Brad Pitt front and centre, but Bullet Train would have been successful without Brad, with or without Brad. So you're talking shit. You're making excuses for your decisions and your movie. While Viola Davis, The Woman King, got off to a 19 million start, both films also had action set pieces to lure in viewers, something Bros lacked as a comedy, which only means it needed that much more star power. No, Bros didn't flop because of its lack of star power. Nobody wanted to see this film. And I used to say when I was younger, when rom-coms were a trend, I used to say, why don't they make why don't they make more gay rom-coms? Because they're a trend. This is the time to educate people, right? And make it the norm. But they didn't. Rom-coms, no, look, people don't go to the cinema to watch rom-coms anymore, whether it's a straight one or a gay one. And those are the facts. For the romantic comedy genre, star power is integral these days to getting people out of the house. Paramount's The Lost City made it to the 105 million mark in the US off the strength of pairing A-listers Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. You call that a romantic comedy? Basically, they're just using anything at their disposal to justify this movie's failure. Elements to its plot. And a Brad Pitt cameo didn't hurt, while George Clooney and Julia Roberts' rom-com Ticket to Paradise is already a hit overseas with 45 million ahead of its US debut. Later this month, without star power, a rom-com seems better off taking the streaming route than the theatrical route. But here's the thing. If you put out a trailer and we said, fucking hell, this looks emotional, this looks deep, and this looks funny as well, everyone would have gone to see it. This is the truth. There's an element of truth of the lack of star power, but there's a lot of content without any star power. But I said it, didn't I? I said I saw this film. And I think they're right in the element of it's a streaming movie, because that's what it is. People don't go to cinemas to watch this kind of stuff. And it doesn't matter if it's LGBTQ plus or straight. People are just not interested in rom-coms, period. When Bros was announced to premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival, the press release for the movie called it one of the first romantic comedies from a major studio for a feature and almost entirely to SLBTQIA plus cast. Anyway, now, this is what the industry is about now. The first that, it's groundbreaking. You never hear it's a great movie anymore. You never hear the people who made the movie talking about the movie. It's the first this, and we're going to break the glass ceiling. Entertainment has been swapped for activism. So where are we? Yes, TV spots for Bros prioritized a poll quote calling the film as hilarious as it's historic. The point here is that Bros Marketing worked overtime to sell its Important as the first major LGBTQ studio comedy, but aggressively marketing a movie as a glass ceiling breaker can make it feel like homework for viewers. Many box office pundits agree Universal leaned too much into the film's importance instead of marketing some of the film's comedic set pieces. Exactly what I say. They talk about the political, the first, all those elements, but they never talk about what's actually in the movie. Tell us the motivations of your characters like people used to in the old days. But you don't do that. You talk about the first this, groundbreaking this, breaking the glass ceiling, and people are tired of your politics. The entertainment industry is the most overt political industry I've ever seen. All they do is fucking talk politics and, push their world views on us, their consumer, for 24 hours a fucking day. You only have to follow them on social media. It's too much. They're obsessed. They're too much. Film's comedic set pieces in order to get across that it's a comedy. That's, actually very funny. Really did the marketing highlight the film is from the director of popular comedies, forgetting Sarah Marshall and Neighbours, if at all. So, the director actually made some great movies. But they weren't pushed on propaganda, and the trailer in its final few syllables didn't put down straight people. Marvel is able to tout, here we go, the butt-kissing of Marvel again. Marvel is able to tout superhero movies like Black Panther and Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and the first comic book film to be led by a black and Asian superhero. Wow. Wow, they can't help themselves, can they? Respectively, without much blowback at the box office, since these are new entries in the most successful film franchise in the world, and the first time these highly popular comic book characters have led their own movies. But let me explain something to you. Shang-Chi is an okay entertaining movie, and Black Panther is a great movie. But here's the thing. I don't know about people's motivations, but I don't go to see movies for the first gay rom-com or for the first black superhero or Asian superhero. I look at the trailer, I look at the marketing, and I think I'm either going to support this movie or I don't. I don't support anything Disney anymore. I'm done with Disney. I'm done with Marvel. I'm done with Disney Star Wars. I'm bored of you. I'm done with your extremism, your propaganda, your hate for my gender. I am done with it. I am done with you. I am bored now. But my motivations are only to see a great piece of entertainment. And I think that Shang-Chi is okay, and I think Black Panther is great, apart from the kind of weird third act, which I thought was simplistic and crap. Everyone talks about the first Wonder Woman film's third act, which I adore, by the way, but nobody tells the truth about the third act of Black Panther. Anyway, Warner Brothers touted the importance of Crazy Rich Asians in 2018, which was very successful, but it already had built-in awareness by being based on the best-selling book. The film also wisely opened in August so it could leg out slowly at the box office and dominate buzz during a slower theatrical release month. No, here's the thing. Crazy Rich Asians is a fucking great movie. I didn't go to the movie to support Asian people. Not that that's a problem to me, but that's not why I went. I went because I liked the trailer. It looked fucking amazing, and it was fucking amazing. I've seen this film over 20 times, maybe more. I don't give a shit about inclusivity because I've never been included. I'm an Anglo-Greek Cypriot. Where is my community? Why aren't I being seen? Well, I don't know and I don't care because I don't need to be fucking seen. For me, characters and entertainment should be aspirational. When I look at Superman, when I look at Bond, when Bond was good and not woke, I said, yeah, I'd love to be him. It's aspirational. It doesn't matter that they weren't Anglo-Greek Cypriots. While inclusivity and glass ceiling breaking are important factors worth celebrating and can stir up interest in a movie, they can't be the sole focal point of a movie's marketing. This is what I've always said. Just look at what happened to Warner Brothers in The Heights, which didn't market its storyline or characters and instead went all in on the movie being a game changer for Latinx representation on the big screen. Yes, this is a good point, but this is what I've already said. This is what they do. They talk about being the first, a ceiling breaker, groundbreaking, but they never talk about their film or their characters. Nobody cares. We want to see something great. We want to be entertained. That's it. And if you happen to represent and include your community and it's positively done, great, I'll support that. But I ain't going to support your fucking communities. I'm going to support an entertaining movie. Whether it's Latinx, whether it's predominantly African American, I don't care. What I care about is what I'm going to get in the content. This industry is going bankrupt because it's been hijacked by an extremist movement. And until this movement is removed from this industry, this is what we're going to get. So that's amazing. Joe Joyce, hang on, I missed a bit. So where are we? Yeah, In the Heights Bond with 11.4 million opening, though it was also available to stream on HBO Max at the same time. Streaming numbers were also reportedly low, however. Call me unsurprised. Joe Coy's August comedy Easter Sunday also seemed to promote the historic nature of a film that represents the Filipino community over the last that would bring in all moviegoers. That film bombed, as well as making just over 13 million worldwide on a $17 million budget. Because they've become a political movement and they just want to talk about the political aspects of their movies and not the content. But SJWs can't make good entertainment, and we know they can't, and there lies the problem. According to Box Office Mojo, only 4 of the top 100 highest grossing rom-coms have been released in October, and they aren't exactly titans of the genre. 1979's Bo Derek Vehicle 10, well, that's a great movie. I love that movie. At number 48, 2010's Katherine Heigl and Josh Duhamel film Life as We Know It at number 84. You see, these are stats and these are great, and this is just excuses this film for releasing now. If it was a great movie, it wouldn't matter when you fucking released it. So where are we? Yeah. Serendipity at 91, and A Witchy Tale, Practical Magic landing at number 100. Clearly rom-coms do not fly high at the time of year, and despite sneaking in to be released on the last day of September, Halloween fever had already overtaken pop culture. Now, sorry, I don't agree with you. You're just making excuses. After all, the two most obvious genres of movies to take a date to have historically been rom-coms and horror, and given the overperformance of Smile, consumers clearly wanted to hold their dates tight out of fear rather than love. No, it's nothing to do with that. They didn't want to go and see this movie. Face it. Deal with it. A smarter move would have been to drop it during a quarter week in September, such as the 9th, in which the only competition would have been the pre-spooky season horror flick Barbarian and Bollywood superhero movie. Batmastra Part 1, Shiver by September the 30th release date. Social media was already flooded with Halloween content, so why fight the inevitable? And yeah, of course, always, if you're a smaller movie without any big famous leads in it, it's always better to come out when you don't have any competition, but it's difficult to find the window when there's no competition. Maybe that would have helped the movie, maybe it wouldn't have done. The week Bros was released also saw the debut of 2 buzzy films on streaming. The eagerly awaited Marilyn Monroe biopic Blonde, which we just discussed. But again, these are excuses. If there's something great I want to watch on Netflix, I don't go, oh no, I'm not going to go to the cinema. Because I can just leave that. I can go to the cinema, right? Come home, put the coffee on, and watch this while I'm laying in bed before I fall asleep. Which is what I fucking did with Blonde. So this is an awful excuse. Awaited Marilyn Monroe biopic Blonde on Netflix and the spooky family comedy Hocus Pocus 2 on Disney+. Fans of Asian as Hollywood-soaked wit would likely be just as tempted to stay at home and watch either of those titles, coupled with the recent release of the uber-viral Dharma series on Netflix, plus an avalanche of seasonal appropriate horror available at the push of a button. Bros was likely overwhelmed by the power of choice. No, that's not the reason. You can talk about that with other films in the movie theatre, in the theatrical system. You can't talk about that element now. With streaming, you can't. You can't say people were overwhelmed by lots of choice on streaming. We've always got lots of choice on streaming. People didn't want to go to see this film. They didn't think twice about this film. That's the point. Given the film's lack of star power, many of the promotional materials cited Bros producer Apatow as a major selling point, but his April film, The Bubble, a painfully unfunny riff on COVID culture that Netflix released, is sitting at career low numbers on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb from fans and critics alike. Could the super producer's Midas touch have diminished after his latest film failed to deliver? Listen, you could deliver a flop and then 6 months' time or a year's time deliver a big hit. Of course, he's not over. Nobody's over. We already know the director of this movie has made great movies. And then they decide to go woke. Then they go broke. But here's the thing. No one's telling you can't make a gay rom-com. A gay rom-com's a good idea. And you know what? I'll support a great, funny gay rom-com. I'm okay. But when I go and see a movie, I don't want to see my gender put down. I don't want to see straight people put down. Because guess what? Gay people may have been put down in films 40 or 50 years ago, but that hasn't happened for 20 odd years. You know, we're a bit more, we understand now, don't we? We're a bit more educated now. So in our films today, we don't put down gay people. And we don't expect gay people to put us down in their movies. But there's no problem with a movie about gay people. Of course there's not. That's great. But just because you're making a movie about gay people, don't expect me to go and support it because it's about gay people. You make it damn entertaining because they're the parameters I watch all movies on. And I don't care if you're straight, white, black, Native American, I couldn't give a shit. The point and the reason I'm talking about this mid-movie is because a person, I think it's the director, Billy Eisner, I think he directed it, started it, whatever, right? Couldn't give a shit. The point is, he came out and said straight people didn't support this movie. And which makes us homophobic. He also said on Twitter, if you're not homophobic, come and watch our movie. Aren't you embarrassed? Begging people and shaming people into watching your movie. People didn't want to watch your movie, Billy. And you're an extremist. You went from being a great person that we all love to someone who's attacking us. We're not attacking you, Billy. You're attacking us for no reason. You're like that spoilt little girl in that gif kicking her legs about because she didn't get what she wanted. That's you, Billy. You tried to do something, you did it the wrong way, and you failed. Live with that. This has been Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wife. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. I'll see you again in the next video. Until we see each other again. Goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.